Hey guys, it's Simply Naima here. Welcome back to my channel. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this client tutorial. If you guys remember, this is my friend Armani. I'm doing her makeup today for a photo shoot, and she's actually the first client tutorial I ever did, or client makeup I've ever done. So if you guys have been rocking with me since then, leave a comment below and shout out to y'all because the growth is real, okay? Like, if you guys remember what that makeup looked like my first time ever doing it on a person, this is a complete 360. So right now, you guys, I started by cleansing her face with the Thayer's Witch Hazel, the rose water one. I like to do that to cleanse my client's face to make sure that there are no dirt, leftover makeup, or anything like that on the face. And then I went in with my Pond's face cream to moisturize the skin. Moisturizing the skin is very important. It does not matter if you have oily skin or combo or dry skin. You need to moisturize your skin to prepare for the makeup application. And then for her, she does have dry areas. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the RCMA translucent powder with a sponge, and I'm putting it on the areas that she gets oily to kind of prepare those areas for the makeup and control the oils. So once you let that powder sit in those oily areas for a while, you can go ahead and dust them away. And then I'm going in with my Milk of Magnesia to prime her face as well. Milk of Magnesia is a great product for oily skin, you guys. So I definitely recommend it. So we're gonna go ahead and get into these eyebrows. So the first thing I'm doing is just brushing up her eyebrows with a empty spoolie brush, and then I'm gonna go back with my Got To Be gel, and I'm going to brush it into her eyebrow hairs. And first I'm just brushing it to make sure it's evenly spread on her eyebrow on both sides, and then I'm going to flip the spoolie around to make sure that all the excess Got To Be gel is removed. And we can then mold it. So the point of this is so that you can shape the eyebrow hairs into whatever shape you want. So I'm shaping them right now and making sure that all the hairs are going the way that I want them to. And then you're going to want to take alcohol on a cotton pad and just wipe away any excess Got To Be gel that's on her face, because it will mess up your eyebrow pencil if you don't do that. So we're just going to draw in her brows, starting on the bottom, making small hair-like strokes to outline the bottom of her brow. I like to outline the brows first. I kind of like to stencil them out and then fill them in. I just find that the easiest to do. And yeah, you guys know, like I said before, I do one bottom of the brow and the other bottom of the brow. Then I do one top of the brow, then the other top of the brow. Then I fill in one brow and fill in the other brow. I do not do a whole brow at a time. I just find that it's easier to do it this way, especially if you're beginning, because you can see if everything is even. And if it's not, make changes. You know, you guys have seen me on my channel before. You've seen me make changes to the eyebrows on my clients, and I like to leave that part in these videos because I want you guys to see that eyebrows do take time. It's not something that you're gonna get perfect right away. I've been doing makeup for a year, and eyebrows are still something that take me about 30 minutes to do. And I always set that expectation for my clients because I want them to be perfect. So here I'm just filling them in. After I've got them how I want them initially, I'm going to fill them in. And then when I get towards the front, I'm just going to make some smaller strokes. And then I'm going to use the spoolie on my eyebrow pencil to brush out the beginning of her brow so that it's not super harsh. You do not want boxy brows. Like, boxy brows really never should have been a thing. I'm not even sure if they were a thing, but in 2021 it's definitely not a thing. So make sure you guys are brushing out the beginning of your brows on your clients and on yourself so that there's not that harsh box at the front of the brow. Oh, and the eyebrow pencil that I'm using is from the Max Lux Studios collection, and it is in the color Onyx. So now for cleaning up the brow. So I'm using a Crown C467 brush. Definitely recommend that brush. And I'm using the Tarte concealer in the shade Tan Deep Sand. And I'm just taking my time carving out these brows, cleaning them up. And if you look at my left hand, I use the left hand to lift up the brow to help me get a very clean, precise line underneath the brow. And I always drag the concealer onto the lid because I think that it's just easiest to do it that way. To each his own, but that's what I do. So you see I'm lifting up the brow so that I can get as close to that bottom brow line as possible. And then I go ahead and tap the concealer in using a fluffy brush. So I think that brush was from an Amazon kit, honestly. It was just a random fluffy brush. But any dense brush you want to use to tap that out nice and even before moving on to the top. So on the top, I used the Tarte concealer in the color Deep. So the top concealer you want to be more a concealer that matches your client's tone. You can also use a foundation that matches your client's skin tone as well. But you want it to be closer to their color so that we don't have that halo brow, because halo brows are a dub. And then you go ahead and do the other side as well. And as you guys can see, and I wanted to show you guys, like, I made a mistake. Nobody's perfect. Don't worry. As long as when your client leaves your chair, their eyebrows look good, it don't matter the process to get there. And just know that, like, with anything, as long as it looks good at the end, it does not matter the process that it takes to get there. If you mess up, just fix it. Like, don't go too crazy about it. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to do the eyeshadow. So I am using the P. Louise eyeshadow base in the color 0. It is the lightest color. Tapping that onto my client's lids. And I sort of blend it out with that brush I'm using. But to really blend it out and make it very smooth, I recommend using a Real Technique setting brush like I did just there, because it really just makes that base super, super smooth. There are no creases in it. And that's what we want. We want a smooth base. Now, my client has smaller lids. When she opens her eyes, it's her lid space is pretty small. However, we are going to open these eyeballs up, okay? So if you guys can see, when she opens up her eyes, her lids kind of like fold in. They're like hooded. And you want to make it so that you can still see the eyeshadow look with her eyes open. So that's what we're going to do today. And you guys see, I just fixed the brows. Make those changes. So we're going to go into our first color. So I use the Morphe 39A palette. And I'm sorry I don't have the color in front of me. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want to know the exact colors that I used. But I went in with my first color, which was a transition color. And I used a Morphe fluffy brush. This brush doesn't have a name. It came in a set. And I put that in her crease. And I just built upon it until it was to my liking. And then after that, I went into a brown color. And I went a little bit lower than that transition color that we put down. And I built that into her crease. And then each time I used the color, I went lower and lower on her lid. And I just built it up into the crease. And you guys see, I'm kind of focusing it on like the top part, the part of her eye that does show when her eyes are open. I am putting it all over the eye, but you see how her eyes open, even though it's folded in on her lid and you can still see the color. We're focusing it on the top part of her eye lid. And now I'm going to go in with my Helen E eyeshadow base, and I'm tapping that into her corners. And I'm going to use that to be my base for my lighter colors, so they pop more. So once you tap on that Helen E eyeshadow primer, you want to blend it out. So it's a smooth base. Again, we want smooth bases all the time. And then I'm going to go in with the transition color that I use on her lid first. I'm putting that down right next to the colors that we originally put down. And then in the very corner, I'm going to put a beige color from the Juvia's Place Nomad palette. Again, if you guys want to know all the colors, let me know. And what I do is I just lay down the color first so that I get the payoff that I want. And then I go in with a brush and blend it out so everything is seamless. So now I'm just blending all of that out so that the blend is nice and seamless before I move on to the next step, which is going to be adding our glam, okay? So I'm going to be using the J. LaRue Cosmetics white gold pigment to put on top of the area in the corner that's like lighter to add some glam, because this is Glam by Naimah. Y'all already know the vibes. And I love this pigment. You know, the actual pigment in the container is white, but when you put it on, it's gold, which is why it's called white gold. And I love it. This one in white diamonds, I highly recommend. If you don't have any J. LaRue pigments, definitely start with those. So we're going to go ahead and do the liner now. Now for the eyeliner, I use the Wet n Wild eyeliner, the liquid liner. And I must say, I understand now why so many makeup artists use this liner. Like, the brush on that eyeliner is so controlled, you guys. Like, if you do makeup, you know what I mean when I say like out of control brushes on eyeliners. But I promise you, this one is so controlled. Like, you can get precise, very, very precise, and it doesn't make it look a mess. Like, I want to say this eyeliner application might have been the best I've ever done, and it's because that brush is just awesome. And I got it from the dollar store for like $4, so don't sleep on a dollar store, okay? And then, of course, Glam by Naimah. We're going to do our double liner, because you guys know I love double liner. I love double liner. So I'm going in with the NYX white eyeliner, and I'm adding a double liner with the wing for glam. And I just love the way this looks on all my clients, really. All my clients. I think it's such a nice pop. It looks different. It makes it like stand out, look different. I love it. So yeah, once we're done with that, we're going to get into the face. So you guys see I'm like color matching up against her skin. I'm grabbing the color that's darker than her, the color that is her color, and then the lighter color. And you see in the row right there, it goes dark, medium, light. And we're layering it on just like that. So first we're going to place down that darker foundation color that it's close to her color, but a little bit darker. And we're putting that on the bottom of her face and on her forehead. So it's pretty much going to go on the perimeter of her face. And what this is going to do, you guys, is create a really nice dimension on her face. When you blend everything together, it just blends so seamlessly. It's kind of beautiful to see how it all comes together. So now we're going in with our second shade, which is pretty smack dab on her color. And we're adding that to the majority of her face. We're just pretty much going to leave just under her eye for the third color. And the third color is going to be light. So look how this color goes on. It is a light color. And the reason that this third color is so light is because my client requested me to give her a light under eye. So when she said that, I was like, if I use a light concealer under her eye, that will help cut down the amount of concealer I have to put under her eye so she doesn't look chalky. Good idea, I know. Oh my gosh, thanks. So right now I'm just adding that second foundation shade, the one that's pretty close to her color, to her nose and the remainder of her forehead in any little areas I want. And then I'm going to spray her down with the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Take a foundation brush from e.l.f. and just begin to tap in that product. So we're tapping in the foundation. We're not swiping it. If you swipe it, it will have streaks all over your client's face, which is just, that's not it. So tap it in. Like Sweetie said, tap, tap, tap in. And you'll see the amazing application. Like, do you see how that looks just like her skin? Like, it looks like a skin finish. And it's that 3 foundation method. I'm telling y'all, like, try it. Just take the foundation, put it next to your client's face, find one that looks like their skin color, one that's a little darker than their skin color, and one that's lighter than their skin color, and layer it on the same way I just did, and tell me if y'all like it in the comments. And then because my client has on a frontal, we want to protect that frontal, okay? A little bit of foundation on the lace is not bad, but too much, it will get all over the baby hairs and ruin the frontals that the girls pay a lot of money for. So that is why I am using a Real Technique setting brush on her forehead area and around her frontal, because we are not going to be responsible for messing up the girl's hair. And if you have clients that wear frontals, or you yourself wear frontals and get them done professionally, you know that those are expensive and we are not trying to mess them up. So I recommend going in with a smaller brush to be precise. So now we're going to highlight. So to highlight, I am using the color Tan from the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer Collection. And you guys see I use a very little amount. I no longer put that big square, big triangle of concealer under my clients' eyes, because I feel like it just always is too much. Like, less is more with concealer. If you need more, build up on it. And then on her forehead, her nose, and her chin, I am using the Tarte Shape Tape and the color Tan Deep Sand. And we're going ahead and carving out the brows again with the highlight color, and then putting it on the forehead. And then we're going to put it on the nose, down her nose, and also on her chin. Now, the reason, like I said, that her under eye and her Cupid's bow are lighter is because she wanted a light under eye. She wanted it to be bright, which is a look, and the girls like it. So now to contour, I'm using the Juvia's Place concealer in the color J9. And again, being very careful around that lace. I'm putting it on her cheeks, around her forehead, and on her jaw. And then we're going to go ahead and blend that out. So to blend that out, I use the e.l.f. highlighting brush, and I just tap that in and blend it in the contoured areas. Now, when you're using a concealer, I will say, like, it's easy for it to kind of get out of control and be like wide and just be too much. So always keep the foundation brush that you use on hand. For me, I'm using the setting brush I use for her foundation, because it's like the same thing. That's my quote-unquote foundation brush. And I'm just making sure that nothing is too much. Now we are going to blend out the highlight, but it's good to leave it for a little bit. Especially the Tarte concealer, it's great to leave it for a little while, because it's going to get like really full coverage. Like really full coverage. So we're going to take a damp beauty blender, a Real Technique one, is what I'm using, and we're going to begin to tap in the concealer. So starting on her chin, we're just tapping it in. And you want to have your foundation brush on hand, and also the brush you use to contour on hand as well, to help make the transitions better and no harsh lines of demarcation or anything like that. So now I'm taking a different Real Technique setting brush, and I'm going ahead and beginning to blend out that highlight under her eye. And this is actually really good for blending out highlight under the eye, this brush, because it's very soft. It's extremely soft, and it's like, it's not going to make them tear up or anything like that. If you have a client with sensitive eyes, she's not going to tear up by using the Real Technique setting brush. So you guys see I'm just alternating between my brushes and my sponges. That sponge under the eye kind of really ties it together really nicely. Personally, I believe the sponge is just as important as the setting brush. So I can't say what is more important. They're both important, so use them both. But again, it's what you prefer. A lot of people don't. I know people that don't like to use a brush, people that don't like to use a sponge. So it's really what you prefer. But for me, I definitely use them both on myself and on my clients. So now I'm just tapping out under her eye to make sure there's no creases before I go in and begin setting with the banana powder. So you want to make sure you have your client look up while you do this, because it will make sure that there are no creases under the eye, and that's what we don't want. Again, we want our finish to be very as skin-like as possible, if that's even a word. So we want to make sure that there are no creases or anything like that. You can also use, I just want to show you on the other side, you can also use the Real Technique setting brush to make sure that the creases are gone. And then you just put the powder underneath, a thin layer of powder. And I'm also putting some powder underneath her contoured area to do like a reverse contour, which would just chisel her down even more. And then we're going to add some powder onto her chin, cupid's bow, and forehead, so that those areas can begin to set as well, and also on her nose. Now, while that's happening, we're going to start with the bronzing. So I'm using the Glamour Bronze Morphe palette in the color Trailblazer to just warm up her face. I didn't want to use anything too dark because I just wanted to warm up her face. I do recommend the Glamour Bronze collection. I have 3 of them, and they are really, really, really amazing. Seriously. So now I'm adding that same Trailblazer Glamour Bronze to her nose to do a slight nose contour. I'm not big on the nose contour, but yeah. We're going to move on to lashes. So I start by putting the lash there to just see if I need to measure it, where I need to cut it down. Then I do that. And then I'm going to put the glue on her actual lash line. And I'm also going to put the glue on the actual lash band, the strip itself. This gives it extra security, extra hold. Promise you guys, your lashes are not going to come off. For real. Like, for real. These lashes I got from Amazon, and I love this lash style. I think it's so pretty, and it just looks so pretty going on. These lashes look really good on her. So yeah, the point of putting the glue on the lid is so that the lid can be tacky, and then the point of having the glue on the band is so that it adheres to the glue on the lid just perfectly, and it's just beautiful. So now I'm gonna go ahead and tap in the powder that we put down everywhere but under her eye. I'm gonna leave the powder under her eye there a little bit longer because I just want that to set. And then I'm going back in with the Glamour Bronze in the color Trailblazer to add it where I feel like it needs to be put. Then we're going to use the Better Than Sex mascara to blend in her natural lashes with the false lashes, and also put some mascara on her bottom lashes, because she does have bottom lashes. Now, I don't have bottom lashes, child, so, okay, I don't even bother with that step, but she did. And this step is important because you do want the false lashes and the natural lash to really blend in together really well. And now I'm wiping away the powder under her eye, just tapping it into her skin. And then we're going to go ahead and bring some of the eyeshadow colors that were on her lid into her lower eye line. So I'm just bringing in some of those colors onto the bottom just to add some glam. I think that looks really pretty when it's like that. So I'm just going ahead and using a bullet brush to add the colors that were on the top to the bottom and give it some extra glam. And then we're going to add the blush. So I'm using the Juvia's Place Saharan Volume 2 palette. I use the bottom 2 colors, the pink and the orange, to go ahead and add the blush. And then I'm using the Juvia's Place Royalty 2 to add the highlight to her cheeks. Also to her nose, into her cupid's bow as well. Those are the areas I like to highlight. And then I'm going to spray her face down. So first I used the Ben Nye Final Seal. Love that, stand by that, but I was running low. And then I had to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. And then I'm tapping that setting spray into the makeup, which really makes it look like skin. Like once you do that, it's going to be like really, really skin-like for real. Then we're going to go into the lip, which is the final step, you guys. So for the lip, I use a brown liquid lipstick to line her lips. And then I use a nude pink lip color that I got from Amazon on the actual part of her lip, and then I just asked her to tap her lips together. And using the matte liquid lipstick is great because it's matte and it's gonna last all day. I love the matte look. I don't really like adding gloss on top of matte lip, but my clients requested sometimes, but my girl, she did not. She liked it just like it was matte, so I was excited. So right now we're just using a lip brush to just perfect that. And you guys, we're gonna set it one more time with the setting spray. Tap the setting spray in. This face is complete, honey. It is just flawless, okay? It's the makeup for me. So this is the final look. This is the low lighting, and I'm gonna also add a ring light clip. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. This has been Simply Naimah here. And make sure you guys are thumbs up this video, leaving a comment, sharing it with your friends and family. I'll see you guys real soon.